Hello and welcome to Make a Difference, the show about volunteers and volunteerism in Montgomery County. I'm your host, Bonnie Ayers. Unfortunately, these days, very few, if any, areas in our country are immune to the problems and challenges of having some portion of their populations experiencing hunger on a regular basis. However, Montgomery County is fortunate to have Community Food Rescue, an initiative whose mission is to rescue perfectly good food before it's wasted and redistribute it to people who are food insecure. Very simply stated, their goal is to feed more and waste less in Montgomery County. Shortly, we're going to learn more about Community Food Rescue and how you can take advantage of volunteer opportunities, focusing on having people help their neighbors by reducing landfill waste and filling the plates of those experiencing hunger. But first, take a look at a few other volunteer openings in the county. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Make a Difference. I'm your host, Bonnie Ayers. We're pleased to have with us today Cheryl Collin from Community Food Rescue, who will tell us about the initiative, its mission to help fight hunger, and how volunteers can be a part of it all. Cheryl, welcome to Make a Difference.
Thanks so much for having me, Bonnie.
Well, this is exciting because this is a new initiative that is coming out and is still, I don't want to say a work in progress because you're further along than that, but we get to learn about it all together now. Tell us about what the initiative and what your plan is.
That's right. Actually, we're so excited to launch Community Food Rescue this summer. The idea and the inspiration, the vision really came from Valerie Irvin from County Council. And she saw that there was an initiative on the campus of College Park, University of Maryland, College Park, to recover food with the Food Recovery Network. And she said, why can't we do this all over the county? So the County Council put some money together in a grant, and Community Food Rescue was born. Manna Food Center is the lead coordinator on the project, but it really encompasses all of the good work of food recovery organizations that are recovering food every day here in Montgomery County. But the mission of Community Food Rescue is really twofold. One is to make sure that more food is redistributed before it goes into land waste in the landfill, and that we also want to feed people who are experiencing hunger. So we know that there's a lot of good food that's being recovered. In fact, last year in 2014, of 11 food recovery organizations, we know that 3.4 million pounds of food was recovered and then redistributed to people in need. And the value of that food is $8 million. But we know there's a lot more food that could be recovered here in Montgomery County.
It just needs a focus and a lot of help, which your initiative is going to bring to the table, I think.
That's right. So the goal and the mission of Community Food Rescue is really to coordinate all of the good efforts that are being done. And we have 4 ways of doing that now. So one is that we want to build the capacity of the nonprofit groups that are doing food recovery in the county. We want to boost their capacities through mini grants so they can buy things like freezers and trucks and build their own capacity. We are also launching a matching platform, a software, so that food donors and food recipient organizations and volunteers can find each other and match one another and make that process much more efficient. And we also are recruiting food donors and food recipient organizations so that more people can participate, more organizations and businesses can be part of Community Food Rescue.
Amazing, amazing.
We also have a recognition program so that food donors, if they're a restaurant or a caterer or a farmer's market or a farmer, anyone who is participating in Community Food Rescue would be recognized through our website. And also we want to provide things like stickers on menus and storefronts so that patrons will know that they're great citizens and that their business is supporting Community Food Rescue.
That's a great idea because business lots of times do things like this and never really get the credit that they deserve, and their customers don't always know what good things they're doing as well. But okay, restaurants and food establishments, I can understand. How can an individual, a family, or somebody, how can they contribute, like their leftover food or whatever?
Yes, actually, we're focusing initially on the establishments, as I mentioned, like restaurants and caterers and grocery stores and farmers markets. And one of the barriers to overcome is how to transport food from food donor to a food agency. And some of the food agencies, the larger ones like Manna Food Center or Nourish Now, do have a fleet of trucks that can move food. But a lot of the smaller organizations don't have trucks to move food. So we're really relying on what we're calling a volunteer food runner corps.
Okay. The magic word, volunteer.
That's
okay,
right.
This is good.
That's right. And we want to build that core of volunteers to actually use their cars or their SUVs or their minivans to transport food from a food establishment that has packaged up their food and then take it to a food organization that's feeding people experiencing hunger.
And these organizations would be, I would imagine, sort of conveniently placed around the county? So they'd be close to most of the neighborhoods that would want to.
Yes, actually what's great about our matching software, once it's launched this summer, is that we'll be able to geographically match food donors, food recipients, and of course with volunteers. So a volunteer would go online, they'd fill out a profile of where they'd like to pick up food and transport it, what kind of vehicle they have, how much food they could carry. And interestingly enough, an average car could transport 200 or 300 pounds of food, and an SUV can transport up to 600 pounds of food. So we're not talking about spare change here.
Well, those are all impressive figures too.
It could really make a difference, and we think that through a network of these volunteers that they can really move food all around the county.
Well, let's give some contact information, because we've given some good verbal information here, and people think, oh, I think I could do that. I'd like to know more about that. How, at this point, are the best ways to get in touch?
Well, we have a website, so it's www.communityfoodrescue.org. People can go on our website, they can learn all about what it means to recover food, how to do it safely. We have guidelines on transporting food safely that we'll want all of our volunteers to read and learn about. We have really interesting information about the number of people who are hungry here in our county. So we know that approximately 80,000 people are food insecure, and that means that they do not know where their next meal is coming from. And then at the same time, we know that 23% of all solid waste in Montgomery County is food waste, 23%. We know we can get that number down, and through Community Food Rescue, we can work together with this cadre, this network of organizations who are out there on the streets recovering food every day. We can increase the efficiency, and get those numbers down.
Now, in addition to actually having food, that you would donate and transport to the proper organization and so forth, are there other things that people could do to help you all?
Well, actually, if people were interested in this issue of food recovery and helping to serve people in need of getting supplemental food, they could actually go on our website and look at the whole list of organizations that we're working with right now. They could volunteer their time. So every organization listed has a website and a phone number. People can certainly call and help donate their time right now and help people in need that way.
And I see a couple good advantages to this, because we usually ask, well, is there training? What kind of time commitment do the volunteers need, and so forth? And what groups, can you do a group? Can you do a family? But this sounds like you don't need all of that information. In other words, there's no training, because they can go on and they just need to know what to do and how to properly, like you said, even maintain the food that you're going to deliver eventually and things like that. So that would sort of be your quote training, and then you would have instructions.
Right. We actually will have very specific information on our website that any volunteer can go and read. We're actually going to ask them to read that and even take a self-test online. So it might be 3 or 5 questions so that they really understand what they need to do. And once they have signed up, and then when a food donation comes through this matching service, given their profile and what their time availability is and where they're located geographically, they'll be invited through an email to say, can you pick up food at this location at this time? And they can respond yes or no. And the word will go out to the whole core of volunteers within that geographic area, within that time frame that they filled out on their profile.
Well, and I think a question we always like to ask is, what rewards are there for the people who volunteer? And what I like about your program is that it's, we were talking before the show, twofold. There's the environmental aspect and there's the humanitarian aspect as well. So it sounds like a real win-win for anybody who would, want to participate.
It really is, and unlike some volunteer activities that require older students or teenagers or such, what's great about Community Food Rescue is that it could be a family endeavor. So either mom or dad could be driving the car, and then even their school-age children can help by carrying the food out from the donor to the food agency. And so it could be a whole family affair. And we're also encouraging groups, faith-based groups, community groups, who would like to do this can sign up as a group. We're going to offer, particularly as we launch this summer, we're going to offer groups a week at a time and say, this is your week to volunteer. And so they will get their members of their group to sign up individually, but that will be the focus of their group. And of course, we'll recognize all these great volunteer efforts on our website through our Facebook page as well.
Well, it's a good lesson, I think, too. We talk about school-age kids, that the whole family sort of learns about, hey, there's a new twist to this, and it's never too young to start the kids with environmental and humanitarian efforts like this.
Absolutely,
too.
And there's nothing like a hands-on activity to really show kids, here's our greater community, here's where there's need, and here's how I can help.
And would there be, you get into the aspect of the food and when you need to deliver it and how it needs to be preserved and everything. So
Yes.
Would you be looking for people to do it as they have it, or maybe a couple times a week? It would sort of depend, I guess, on what they had.
Well, what's great about, again, the opportunity through Community Food Rescue is that if you're a volunteer and you want to try it once, you can do it once. If you see that this is on your way to work or on your way to school, then it could be a regular weekly activity, and you can establish a relationship with your food donor and your food recipient agency. So it could be an either or.
Amazing story, an amazing concept, and I'm glad it's coming to light. And just stay tuned to your website for when everything is going to get going, and that's because that'll be updated, I'm sure.
That's right. We're going to launch this summer.
Fantastic. Cheryl, thanks so much for being with us and telling the story. Our guest has been Cheryl Collin from Community Food Rescue. For information about volunteering with Community Food Rescue or elsewhere in Montgomery County, contact the Volunteer Center at 240-777-2600 or visit their website at www.montgomeryserves.org. And remember, as a volunteer, you can make a difference. Bye-bye.
County Cable Montgomery, your information station.